Thank you. Please be seated. The Honorable ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to listen the opening speech from the Deans of Economy Faculty, Sriwijaya University. In this case, will be represented by Vice of Dean for Students and Alumni Affairs. In this case, Dr. Suhel, SE, MSI. Welcome to Dr. Suhel. Time is yours.
Baik. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirrabbilalamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'du. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Terima kasih kepada para panitia. Alhamdulillah syukur di pagi hari ini kita bisa mengadakan acara ini, semoga bisa lancar kegiatan ini. Mohon maaf, saya mewakili Pak Dekan karena pada saat yang bersamaan ada acara yudisium. Baik, acara atau kegiatan forum kajian pembangunan ini sebenarnya diadakan rutin setiap tahun, setiap 2 tahun sekali. Kebetulan di pagi hari ini atau di tanggal ini kita diberi kepercayaan untuk mengadakan ini dari Fakultas Ekonomi Universitas Sriwijaya. Tujuan kegiatan ini adalah diseminasi penelitian dosen. Semoga acara ini bisa menambah wawasan bagi para peserta, khususnya para peserta dalam hal pengembangan ilmu dan juga penelitiannya. Selanjutnya saya sampaikan banyak terima kasih kepada para narasumber yang telah ikut berpartisipasi dalam kegiatan ini, serta para peserta yang juga ikut berpartisipasi dalam kegiatan ini. Semoga bisa mengikuti dengan lancar. Sekali lagi saya ingin menyampaikan banyak terima kasih pada khususnya panitia yang telah bersusah payah untuk menyelenggarakan acara ini. Semoga lancar. Terakhir, dengan mengucapkan Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, acara kegiatan Forum Kajian Pembangunan dinyatakan dibuka. Sekian saja. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Suhel, for the opening speech. Now, the Economy Development Forum 2022, held by Economy Faculty, Sriwijaya University, is officially opened. The Honorable ladies and gentlemen, the next agenda is photo session. I would like to invite all the participants to join the photo session together. Please turn on your camera and be prepared. Okay, we start from slide 1. 1, 2, 3. Slide 2. 1, 2, 3. And the last slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay. The Honorable ladies and gentlemen, we are moving to the next agenda. We will hear the presentation from the presenter, and the presentation will be moderated by Mrs. Rashida Prativi, SE, MSI. Mrs. Rashida Prativi currently works as the lecturer faculty of Economy, Sriwijaya University, majoring in Economy Development. For Mrs. Rashida Prativi, time is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Ibu Vini, for the brief informations about me. Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Honorable, the Dean, the Vice of Dean of Economic Faculty, Universitas Sriwijaya, the Honorable, the Chair of Economic Development Department, Management Department, and also Accounting Department. Good morning. the Honorable our speaker, and also all the participants that have joined today's event. Well, welcome to Forum Kajian Pembangunan entitled Industrial Trade and Organizational Culture, hosted by Economic Faculty and in collaborations with Australian National University, Indonesian's project. I'm very excited today because I will accompanied by three beautiful speakers that's come from University of Sriwijaya. Good morning, all the speakers. And before that, allow me to introduce all the speakers to you. The first speaker coming from Economic Development Department, Mrs. Gustriani, and the second speakers come from Management Department, Ibu Isni Andriana, and the last but not least speakers come from Accounting Department, Ibu Luluk Fuada. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before we start, I would like to explain you how the presentations will be going on. The first, each speaker will be presents around 20 minutes, and please unmute all the microphones for all the participants during the presentations. And then next, we will open the question and answer sessions for around 10 minutes. For those who want to ask a question, please raise your hands and also chat in the chat box. Well, ladies and gentlemen, before further ado, I would like to invite our first speaker, Ibu Gustriani, MSE. Ibu Gustriani, she is a lecturer of the Economic Development Department. Yes. This is the bio. She has achieved her master's degree in Economic Faculty, University of Sriwijaya. And she is also, she was a practitioner in banking industry for almost 10 years. And her research interests in monetary and Islamic economics. Okay, are you with us, Ibu Gustriani?
Yes, sir, Miss Rasida.
Okay, how do you do today?
Good, thank you.
Okay, well, now you will have 20 minutes to present your article, and then 10 minutes after that we're gonna open the question sessions. Okay, Bu Gustriani, the time is yours.
Oh, well, thank you, Mrs. Rasida. So it's a pleasure to me to share about our latest study about coffee industry. So first of all, I would like to share my presentation. Ms. Rasida, is it my presentation okay?
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, thank you very much. So before we start, I would like to inform you that our study is, my presentation today is a result of our study. So, and we have a teamwork here. So I would like to introduce you to the first, we have Mrs. Desi Apriani, and we have Mrs. Feni Marisa, me, also Ms. Harta Sinta. And today, we'll share about the determinants of Indonesia intra-industry trade for coffee commodity. So for introduction, I would like to share with you a picture that can describe how is our country coffee production globally. So this is a comparison of domestic consumption for coffee production in the largest coffee producing countries during the period of 2018 to 2019. So as we can see here, Indonesia become the fourth largest country. So the first place there is Brazil, and secondly there's Vietnam, Colombia, and the fourth place Indonesia. But something interesting here is we can see beside our big production of coffee, our consumption is quite high as well. As we can see here, almost 50%, exactly 50.97% of our production, we consume it domestically. And the rest of it, no more than 50%. So we have opportunity to export our coffee community to international market. So it means that beside the high demand of our coffee, so the opportunity to expand our export in the terms of coffee commodity is still open. I hope that government as well as the industry can see it, that we still have a very big opportunity to increase or to expand our coffee production, because the demand not only locally but also globally is quite high. Okay, now I want to show you a graph about our the development of Indonesia coffee community export. As we can see here, the numbers of export, most of we have a steady demands in international market. Also, even if there is some fluctuation in some country, but most of the country have a steady demand for our coffee product. Here, the United States is the biggest. The biggest demand comes from the United States, and we have Malaysia, also Mesir, and other countries. So this is the 15th biggest country that demand for our coffee product. And we can see here the steady trend of the coffee export. We can imply that there is a big opportunity as well for us to increase this, right? We know that coffee is a need not only for some generation like millennials or the young generation, as well as the elders. Sometimes we, before we start our day, we will have a cup of coffee, right? Sometimes we have a coffee break in the morning, also in the afternoons. So we can say that the need for coffee in our society is quite high. So not only in Indonesia, I think, especially for other country like the United States, as well as the Italia, there is a cappuccino or something. The main component of that beverage is coffee. So there's a big opportunity for our country to expand our market internationally. Now, I want to show you the smaller scope of our coffee export. I want to share about the development of Indonesia coffee industry in the region of ASEAN, so in the Asian region. So here we can see that Malaysia have the highest demand for our country, and Malaysia have a significant, as well as it's a dramatically rise, and if not mistaken, is 2013. For the demand for our country. So means that the need of our country from Malaysia is very high, and hoping that maybe in the future, the trend is still increase. Also with another country, also, even if there is some fluctuation in such as Thailand, but from Vietnam, Philippines, also Singapore, the demand for our country is quite steady. So it means that we still have a big market on those countries. Okay, now knowing that there is a very big opportunity for our coffee community to export internationally and in the Asian region country. Also, the high production of Indonesian coffee product, since we are in the fourth place in the largest country that produce coffee. So our team think that it's important for us to know more about this coffee community industry. So we have two main goals here. Initially, based on the background that I explained before, we try to find out the degrees of integration of intra-industry trade for Indonesian coffee communities with trading partners country in the region of ASEAN. And furthermore, we will find out the determinants of intra-industry trade for coffee processing industry between Indonesia and trading partners in the terms of Asian region. This is our two main goal of research. Well, this is our conceptual framework. So the different need for goods and services, we know that each country have the different ability to produce product, right? Like Indonesia, we still, even if we have abundance of natural resources, but we still have need to import another product from the other country because we can produce it all of the item only in locally. So we still need another country to buy another product from the other country. So this need or this lack of production of product will lead to the trade between countries. So Indonesia will make the trade maybe like Indonesia with Malaysia, Indonesia with another country. So because we have a first different needs and different ability in producing product and services. And then the trade between countries, we cannot see it globally or in a small scope. Our study focused only on Asian region country partners. And additionally, this trading between Indonesia and Asian country, we only focus on coffee community. So this only coffee product that we wanna examine more. And if we can see the coffee product, we can see from two perspectives. Firstly, the inter-industrial trade, mean the trade for coffee and another product between Indonesia and another country. And secondly, we can see it from intra-industrial trade, means we only focus only one product. In this case, we only see the coffee trade, coffee product, right? And then furthermore, we want to know more about the intra-industrial trade. We try to find out the determinants of this intra-industry trade. So here we have 4 independent variables. So we use gross domestic product or GDP, and then we have GDP per capita, also the distance, as well as the exchange rate. So we try to find out how these 4 variables influence the intra-industrial trade. Okay, here our roadmap of study. So the study is the series of study. Our team already start to examine about this coffee production since 2013. So we already analyzed the performance of the coffee peeling and cleaning industry in Indonesia. And then the following years, we try to examine the performance of coffee stripping, cleaning, and sorting industry. And the next year, 2019, we did the research on competitiveness and Indonesia coffee communities. And in the same year, 2019, we also did the research about sectoral labor income in regional job market. And we think that there is a correlation in this topic since the industry need the laborers, right? So I think there is a link between two research. And last year, 2020, we did the research about Indonesian intra-industry trade in Asian region. And this year, we start from 2021, we do focus on intra-industrial trade of Indonesia coffee communities with trading partners in Asian countries. So this study is a series study, and we expect that in the next year or in the future, we still did the more study that may be more detailed on more focused on one topic. So we want to make it as complex and as a complex research about this coffee industry. So this is our methodology. So we have, I want to tell you that we have 2 main methodology here. Firstly, we use the intra-industry trade index. This index is used as we use it as a measurement to degrees of trade between cooperating countries or trading partners. And this IIT index, we use the Grubel-Liot index as a calculation for the IIT index and the value based on the standard international trade classification. And here's the formulation where the IIT is calculated from the the amounts of export of one product and then the import of one product in with the trading partners. For example, Indonesia with Malaysia or Indonesia with Singapore. So we only focus on one product and a country. And this is the table of the integration. Means we use it to classify the integration between Indonesia with trading partners. So if the value of the IIT 0 means there is no integration, and the bigger the value of IIT means that the stronger integration. So if the value of IIT more than 75 means that there is a strong integration between Indonesia and the trading partners. So this is the we'll show the smaller the value means the weakest the integration, and the bigger the value means that the stronger the integration between Indonesia and trading partners. Okay, Ms. Rashida, I'm sorry, would you mind if my time will run out? Would you mind to remind me? Okay.
Yes, okay.
And okay, I wanna explain our second methodology. If we have the IIT index, and secondly we use the data panel regression. So we use this methodology because we want to know the impact or the influence of the GDP per capita, exchange rate, and the stance on intra-industry between Indonesia and trading partners. So here's the model that we offer here. We have IIT as the dependent variable, and GDP, also GDP per capita, exchange rate, also the distance as the independent variable. So by run and regress this variable, we expect that we will know how's the correlation between this variable and what else? Oh, the significance, and how this each variable is there significantly influence the IIT or not. Okay, we use the data we use from we use the secondary data that provided from institution. For instance, the United Nations Statistic Division, Country Database, also the Indonesian Statistic or BPS, as well as the World Bank, also the Ministry of Domestic Trade, also another resources that relate to our study. And also we use the Capital Community trade in Indonesia with trading partner countries like Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand, also the Philippines. And the time span we use is 2000 to 2019. So we have a 20 years observation. So this is the result of our calculation for IIT index. Here, as we can see here, we have a very different integration between countries. We have the Singapore, Malaysia, and Vietnam. As we can see here, they have a weak integration with Indonesia. It's mean that we have like low dependence between Indonesia and these three countries. Means we have a small export in the terms of coffee commodity to these three countries. Also, we also import their product in terms of coffee production also low. So there is a like small, or there is like low level of export and import in the terms of coffee production between Indonesia and these trading partners, Singapore, Malaysia, and Philippines. And we have here Thailand. The value is 54.71, means that the integration is quite moderately, means that the levels of our export and import from coffee product between Indonesia and Thailand is not too high or not too low. And eventually the Vietnam, we can see the numbers of Vietnam IIT index is very high, more than 75. Means if I said before, if the value more than 75 means that the integration level that occur in this Indonesia and Vietnam is high. So we can say that we export our coffee product to Vietnam is high, and we also import Vietnam coffee also high. So it means that we depend each other. So Indonesia and Vietnam depends one each other in the terms of coffee product. So this is how we rate the IIT index. Well, I want to give us some reason why there's a high Indonesia and Vietnam have a strong level of integration. Means that we export coffee to Vietnam, but we also import coffee from Vietnam. So here's some reason. We believe that there is so many reasons out there, or so many conditions that trigger this level of integration high. But now we just have three. Firstly, it's because the large market of each coffee industry. Yes, I think it's unquestionable since if you know a very long time ago, but I guess you still remember that there is a case in a criminal case where someone killed someone by dipping the cyanide in Vietnam coffee, right? So start from that time, I just know that in Indonesia, we also, firstly, I don't know that if I believe that we only consume our own coffee, but because of that case, I know that also in Indonesia, the coffee that we drink in Indonesia, not only from Indonesia, but also from Vietnam Airways. So Vietnam coffee have their own segment in Indonesia. So the demand for the Vietnam coffee also high in Indonesia. So that's why our activity, we can export coffee to Vietnam. Also, we can import coffee from Vietnam because we each coffee have their own consumer. That's the first reason. And secondly, we can see that Indonesians have a strong character compared to Vietnam. So as we know that Vietnamese coffee, the most soft coffee production from Vietnam is Robusta. So Vietnam have Robusta coffee. Robusta have a different taste since the Robusta have a very strong smell, and then it's quite more bitter. Also, if people like black coffee, they will prefer a Robusta coffee than other coffee. And in Indonesia, we have different kind of coffee. In Indonesia, we have Arabica. Arabica smell more floral, and the taste is quite different than Robusta. The taste is the mix of bitter, also a little bit sweet and sour. So more tasty than Robusta. So if you like coffee nowadays, maybe like iced coffee or another variation of coffee, and maybe your coffee is Arabica, since Arabica has the lower level of caffeine and Robusta have the higher level of caffeine. So each country, Vietnam and Indonesia, have a different production of coffee. So there, in Vietnam, they produce more Robusta, while in Indonesia, we produce more Arabica. And the smell, the taste, also the variation of the coffee, even if the technique in producing the coffee is quite different. In Vietnam, we also know there is...
Ibu Gustri?
Yes?
You just have 5 minutes left.
5 minutes. Okay,
Yes.
Thank you. I will make it fast. So this is 3 reasons why there is a big integration between Vietnam and Indonesia. So Indonesia and Vietnam have depend one each other on their coffee production. Okay. Now, as we can see, the integration between Indonesia and Philippines is quite low. There is some reason that we have. First, because of the SSG, the special safeguard is occurred in 2019. It's triggered because the Philippine government see that there is an imbalance trade between Indonesia and Philippines, that they import Indonesian product more than exported. So the government tried to make a barrier for Indonesian product. So they tried to make it balanced. So they tried to cut Indonesian product to enter Philippine market. So as well as the coffee products. So our coffee product have a difficulty to enter the Philippine market. Except that we have another reason here, the extreme weather, also the rapid urbanization. You know, in the Philippines, in developing country, sometimes the urbanization, the people move from the rural area to urban area is quite high. And we know that this coffee, the farmers live in the village. If they move to the city, so the land will be abandoned. And then there's a shortage of labor. So in Philippines, there's a shifting between from agriculture to industrial, for example, to mining. So people in Philippines prefer like having a job in mining compared to agriculture in the terms of coffee farms. So this is the lead that make our export to Philippines low. Also, we don't have an opportunity to import Philippine coffee because they don't produce coffee as big as Vietnam. And for the estimation result here, as we can see, the probability for GDP is smaller than 5%, means that GDP significantly influence the intra-industry for coffee between Indonesia and trading partners. While GDP per capita, exchange rate, also distance have a probability of this statistic bigger than 5%, above 5%, means these three independent variables don't have significant effect on IIT. And if we can see the value of adjusted R square, 0.83 means that almost 83% of GDP per capita and exchange rate, also distance, can explain the IIT. And the probability of statistic 0.00 means that simultaneously there's a significant effect between these four independent variables to IIT. Okay, last I want to conclude that based on our calculation, Indonesia have a varying level of integration between Indonesia and trading partners from lowest to strongest. And also using the panel data regression, we only see that GDP have a significant influence on IIT, and while the GDP per capita, exchange rate, and distance don't have a significant effect on IIT. Okay, we want to tell you that this study already published in the Journal of Development of Economic, the study of economic and development problems. We also made a book titled Intra-Industrial Trade in Coffee Commodities. Well, that's all, Mrs. Tiwi. I'm looking for further discussion. Thank you.
Okay, nice explanation, Mrs. Gustriani. Okay, now we know that coffee industry have a very high value to support our GDP, Indonesian GDP, right? Now we move to other sessions. This is a question and answer session. For those who want to ask, let me know. You can raise your hands or just write down your questions on the chat box. For Ibu Amy, if you want to ask in Indonesia, please. This is the time is yours. Ibu Emilia Yuniarti. Are you with us? Maybe other participants want to ask?
Excuse me, Mrs. Rasida. I think there is two participants that already raised their hand. Hamira and Mrs. Lydia.
Yeah, sorry, I cannot see that. The first comes from Hamira and Ibu Lydia Napitupulu. Good morning. The first questions, please, for Ibu Lydia Napitupulu. This is the time is yours, Ibu.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, Ibu Gustriani, for the presentation. Very interesting. Also, I'm happy to see that you have been following the coffee industry in, I guess, South Sumatra since 2013. Yeah. So I don't know if I missed it because it was quite fast, the presentation, but can you explain a little bit about the trend in coffee production and I guess perhaps trade, and explain a little bit about the trend, and also I'm interested in Vietnam. So based on your research and also looking at the trend, is this something that can be expanded, for example, as a future? Because I think this is something a little bit missing from your study about the policy implications and also policy advice, especially for, I guess, the local government in South Sumatra. Thank you.
Okay, another question comes from Ibu Hamira.
Okay. Thank you, Rasida Pratiwi. I have question. Sorry, my name is Hamira from Sriwijaya University. I have question. How the COVID-19 pandemic impact the Indonesian intra-industry trade for coffee commodity? Thank you.
Is there any other? Okay, I have one question for participants to ask. Comes from Rahmanida. Please unmute your microphone.
Okay, thank you, Bu Iwi and Bu Gustri for the presentation. I want to ask, what are the implications of the integration level between Indonesian trading partners? Okay, thank you.
Okay, we just have 3 participants who already asked. The first one comes from Ibu Lydia Natipulu. She is asking about the trends in coffee productions and also how the policy implications and the local governments in the coffee industry. And the second one that's come from Ibu Hamira. She has asked about how COVID-19 impact in the coffee commodity. And the last comes from Rahmanida. What are the implications of intra-industry, coffee intra-industry? Okay, are you ready to answer, Ibu Busri?
Inshallah, Mrs. Rashida.
Okay.
Okay, for the first question from Mrs. Lydia, thank you very much for the question. It's an interesting question, actually. And okay, if we talk about the trends about coffee production, as we can see, the development of our export, our coffee community export, so internationally, also with the Asian country, is quite stable if I dare say in my presentation. And yeah, it means that the opportunity for our country to export more or to expand our trade for another country in the terms of coffee is still high. So the implication for the governments is could be that there is a market for our coffee. So the government should, like in the terms of regulation, they should support the industry. Also, if you can see, like the Philippines, there is a limitation for our product to enter the Philippine market. So I think it's hard for the like a businessman or the farmers to communicate with a Philippine government. So in this case, the government intervention is needed. So they have to talk to government of Philippines to discuss about the trading between the country, also about the coffee industry. If the government want to support the industry or the business in the coffee industry, since we know that the market for our coffee is quite high, so the government must support, must have a regulation point. For example, for the legalization and also the lands, the facility, also the infrastructure, government must support it. And the important one is that government can open the market globally for the coffee. So for example, like I said before, that in the Philippines, in Vietnam as well, also we have a big, also in Malaysia, we have a big demand for our coffee. If the government can like make a negotiation, especially for Philippines, to open the borders, to erase the barriers for our product, it will help that much to the farmers, to the coffee industry, people that involved in this coffee industry. I think that's all, Mrs. Ladia. I hope it can help. Thank you.
The next questions.
Oh, yes. Okay,
Yeah.
we have still two left question. I'm sorry. Okay, for the COVID-19, yes, it's a very interesting, I think. We know that this COVID-19 pandemic already impact almost all aspects in our life. So not only in health, education, also in economy, absolutely, there is a big impact because of this COVID-19 pandemic. In the terms of trade, export and import activity, we know in the news that there is like a pending of like a product can enter one country because of the limitation of movement of people. Also, the flight acquired or the shipment is limited because of the regulation to avoid the infection of COVID-19. So we believe that this COVID-19 have a effect on coffee industry, but luckily, you know that this coffee product is have a long expire. So if even if there is a limitation of there is a pending on their transportation, it will not like affect the quality of the product. So that's the good news from the coffee product. So I believe that this COVID-19 pandemic. Thanks God that now, and I think recently government, even if there is a rise, we start the COVID-19 pandemic start to rise again, but we see the descending of the infection spreading. So I think it will a good impact for the coffee production, so they can expand their product again and they can sell it not only locally in Indonesia but also in the international market. That's why I think Ms. Hamira. Okay, and for the last question, the implication. Okay, the implication of the integration level. Like I said before, that the stronger the level of integration means that the dependence between Indonesia and trading partners means quite high. Means that if the level is strong, so we have a high level of import their product. Also, we also export our coffee product in a big amount to that country. For example, we see that in Vietnam we have a high level, we have a strong level of integrations. Means that we also import Vietnamese coffee, we also export our product to Vietnam in terms of coffee. Why it's happened? One of the reasons is because Indonesia and Vietnam have a different main product. So in Vietnam, they produce like Robusta coffee. In Indonesia, most of our production is Arabica. So that's why we need Robusta to supply the demands for Robusta coffee in Indonesia. But we also export our Arabica coffee to supply the demand for Arabica coffee in Vietnam. So the higher level of integration means we depend on each other for the product in this term coffee community. I think that's all, Ms. Rahmanida.
Okay, thank you so much, Ibu Gustriani, for nice explanations. How about Ibu Hamira, Rahmadida, and Ibu Lydia Napitupulu? Is it any response about the Ibu Gustriani explanations? Okay, if you don't have any response, so I would like to conclude for the presentations. The first conclusions is Indonesia is the fourth largest coffee exporter in the world after Brazil, Vietnam, and also Colombia. And then based on the data from the International Coffee Organization, that Indonesia is the high consumptions is about 50.97% of its productions. So this is the highest level of consumptions compared to other coffee exporting countries. And then the third conclusion is international trade is need to solve the problem of a country that have limited ability to accomplish their domestic needs. So ASEAN country has developed a trade patterns known as intra-industrial trade. And the last conclusions, from the research results, we can see that the degree of integrations of intra-industry trade for Indonesian coffee with trading partner countries has varying degrees, and GDP has a significantly influence to from the industrial coffee industry. Okay, we come to the next presentations that comes from Ibu Isni Andriana. Okay, Ibu Isni, are you with us?
Yes, Miss Moderator, Miss Rasida, thank you very much.
Okay, before she start her presentations, I would like to explain about her bio. Ibu Isti Andriana is a lecturer in management department of University of Sriwijaya, but she is also work as a chair of management department of Universitas Sriwijaya. Her master in finance was received from Australian National University, and her PhD in Islamic accounting was achieved from Universitas of Malaya, Malaysia. Well, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ibu Isti Andriana. Ibu Isti, the time is yours.
Thank you, Miss Moderator, Miss Rasida. I would like to share my PPT first, okay? Okay. Is that clear enough?
Yeah, Ibu Isti.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Thank you, Miss Rasida Pratiwi as a moderator. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's a very good morning. Salam sehat selalu for all other speakers, Bu Dr. Lulu Puada and Bu Gustriani. All the participants, thank you very much for coming today, and all the committees that support this moment, that this kajian forum kajian pembangunan today. And then actually I feel very honorable here that I could discuss about our research It's not me by myself. I have a team among other scholars here. It's been very honor, and this article is part of our research collaboration. Okay, let me move. My research is about organizational culture and performance in Indonesian higher education. That's the title part of our research. Actually, so this research is already under reviewed one of the journal. I hope it will be published this year. So this is our team, myself, Isni Andriana, and then we have also here Prof. Susila from Sunway University, and then we have also here Professor Zahirul Haq from Latrobe University, and then Dr. Ana Yulianita from also Universitas Sriwijaya. Then the last one is Dr. Kemas Muhammad Husni Tamrin and also from Universitas Sriwijaya. Okay, let me start about our research, our article. Actually, first the introduction. I start with the introduction. So this is the reason why we interested for choosing organizational culture and higher education. Why? Because based on Clark in 1980, there is a high concept that connected with school and universities generate about religious feeling in their adherents. They think there are 4 culture domains that influence academic life. And also Brooke in 2006 said that there is a complete understanding and awareness about corporate culture that it can improve one of the capacity to analyze the organizational behavior. The last one, we based on the Denison 1996 that demonstrate that climate and culture study usually are frequently used to investigate various expression on the same contract. And then why we interested in Indonesian higher education? We think, according to Nizam 2006, Indonesian higher education system has plagued by internal inefficiency and ineffective initiative as a result of the country's centralized education system. And then there is also bureaucratic reliance on a central authority on a higher education institution that unable to adapt to external development or get enough assistance. And also World Bank 1996 said that public higher education have lack of any feeling of public accountability, and they are part of the government institution under Indonesian Ministry of National Education. So according to that, based on that autonomy and this decrease of sense of community inside higher of education, so there is very big gap about lack of accountability and duty to society has emerged. So based on that reason, we determined 2 types of reasons before we move to our purpose of study. First is we see about how to determine whether the cultural construct can be operationalized along distinct and repeatable dimension. Then the second one, the reason is to determine how culture can influence organizational performance. So that's why we have a conclusion that the purpose of this study is to determine the influence of organizational culture characteristic on performance in Indonesian higher education. Okay, I move to the conceptual and theoretical framework. So this research is actually based on the Kofi Poku and Awushu Ansa 2013, McNamara 2000, and then Denison 1990. They said that it is difficult to change culture that has remained the same since it formed the basis for the organization management system, because there is the structure and function of the organization are still the same regardless of how it will manage. Sorry, excuse me. And then Zoo and Engels 2013, Line 2003, Maslowski 2001, and Sin in 1999 said the culture is the foundation of organization. So it can often shape by interplay of various elements such as trust, collaboration, learning. So culture can be nourished and shaped over time. It can influence the behavior of the people within the organization, and the key of that understanding the dynamic of culture is through the personal relationship of the team members of the organization. And then we move to the organizational culture and performance based on the Denison Organizational Culture Survey. We see here Denison, Niemann, and Cobra 2014, and then Cobra et al. 2012, Zhang and Yang and McLean 2010 said there is a Denison model. They improved the Denison model, which is introduced about the culture attributes for the organization, which are involvement, consistency, adaptability, and mission. So based on the Nation Organizational Culture Survey, we move to this research. Okay, I move to the methodology, research method for this article. So because of the complexity of the universities in Indonesia as institution of higher education can present significant management challenge, including the emerge of new type and practice-based discipline, diverse employees, expectation and idea, and the spread of management and leadership practice and strain on organizational culture and organizational structure and processes. It's based on Andriana et al. 2019. And then with this research is selecting the case university was carefully selected because of when we do this research is still in the pandemic period. So this research is employ the University of South Sumatra in Indonesia, which categorized as public service agency class, or we used to call Badan Layanan Umum in Indonesian higher education. So according to Kementerian Hukum dan Hak Asasi Manusia 2012, Badan Layanan Umum or BLU is an agency within the government that was formed to provide services to the community in the form of providing goods and or service that are sold without prioritizing seeking profit and carrying out their activities based on the principle of efficiency and productivity. That's based on the Kementerian Hukum and Hak Asasi Manusia 2012. And then this research is conducting a case study must not only possess in-depth expertise and awareness of the issue, but also have an access to the important information. The analysis and result create a narrative informed by the semi-structured interview with 20 members in a department of the university. This study is adopted a convenience and snowball approach for the sampling technique. So for the interview, we choose top level and middle management in the university as a key actor of this research. It is due to the purpose of the study has two important reasons. First is to determine whether the culture construct can be operational along this repeatable dimension. And the second is to determine how culture influence organizational performance. And each interviewee was asked to articulate their experience about organizational culture characteristics on performance in Indonesian higher education institution. The interview process was conducting about 30 and 55 minutes, and care was taken by the researcher to assure that the place of the work would be not identifiable in any subsequent report. So, let me move that recent method, and then I move to my finding for this article. Because this is with in that interview, this research this presentation is only choose the representative direct quotation by our interviewee. First dimension or theme is about culture attribute of involvement and organizational performance. First, I'm doing about capability development. One not one. Most of the interviewee or participants said organization push their employees must be dedicated to their work and provide input for the organizational performance. However, organizations seem missing to create feel of ownership for their employees. We feel organization relies on our effort to get the work done. They forget that we need to have a sense of ownership and responsibility toward the organization. We need trust to empower our individual authority, initiative, and ability to manage our own work. That's the most answer when we do the 20 participants for the interview. And then we move to the empowerment. Most of the participants said this job needs trust to empower our individual authority, initiative, and ability to manage our work. Still have the main line is they said there is still need something more. And then it's about team orientation. Most of the participants said there is need improvement for managing and working cooperatively. That's for dimension and theme about culture attribute of involvement and organizational performance. Then I move to the other dimension, culture attribute of consistency and organizational performance. First is about coordination. Most of the participants said most of us are able to work together to achieve final goals. However, they said the work environment do not support for the organization integration. That's the most answer from the participant. And then we asked about agreement. What about agreement? Most of the participants said that the organization do not have ability to solve on critical issue, the ability to reconcile differences. That's the most important thing. Do not have ability. Then we're talking about core values. Most of the participants said some of the members do not perform their ability for creating a strong sense of identity and a clear set of expectation. This is two of the dimension and theme on the culture attribute. Then I move to another culture attribute. The third one is about culture attribute and of adaptability and organizational performance. I asking about creating change to the participant, not I, but we, because this is a team. They said, most of them said that the organization still cannot perform an ability to create adaptive change. The organization still do not able to react and anticipate the current and future changes. Then I move to another dimension like customer focus. Most of the participants said the organization still have a limited ability to react on the customer needs. It's very interesting. Limited ability. Excuse me. And then move to the organizational learning. Most of the participants said the organization still do not have ability to receive, translate, interpret signal from the environment into opportunities, innovation, and knowledge. That's when they confirm about the organizational learning. The last attribute about culture is a mission. So this is a culture attribute of mission and organizational performance. First, we asking about strategic direction. Most of the participants said the application of strategy is not clear for meaning, purpose, and direction. Then I move to the, we move to the goals and objective. Most of the participants said leadership has an ambitious, however, it do not reflect the goals are understood and measured. That's a funny one. Ambitious, but do not reflect goals and understood and measured. The last one of the themes is vision. Most of the participants said too many short-term objectives to apply in a long-term vision. It's really interesting about our participant of this research actually. Okay, I move to the discussion for this article actually because this is part of our research. So this article is the finding of this article is actually to extend the current theoretical understanding of organizational culture and organizational performance. Using the Denison Organizational Culture Survey, which is involvement, consistency, adaptability, and mission. So our discussion here is involvement attribute need the improvement to the personal engagement of individuals within the organization and reflect a focus and an internal dynamic of the organization and on flexibility. Then about consistency attribute, we conclude that still have a lack of shared value, efficient system and process and reflect an internal and stable focus. Then adaptability attributes do not perform a contribution to the employee's ability to understand what the customer wants, to learn new skill and to change in response to demand and the flexibility to adapt. And the last one is mission attribute must develop focus on the organization purpose and direction and reflect a focus external to the organization and on stability. That's our discussion from our findings. Then I move to the last but not least, conclusion. This is the conclusion about organizational culture and organizational performance. Using the Denison Organizational Culture Survey, which are involvement, consistency, adaptability, and mission. Our finding indicates that there are a number of problematic and gaps from the organization to perform the organizational culture to develop the organizational performances. Our discussion identifies some culture attributes have a lack of values and norms that are most directly related to the organizational performances. For the future research, this research suggested that can be used as separate sample or other similar variables or other measure of organizational culture that reflect similar construct for corroborating and disconfirming result. Okay, I think this is the last, not the last slide actually. This is the conclusion for this article. So this is the references, some of the references that I take, I put it here. And then I would like to say that this article is a funding from this research was supported by Dana Kompetitif Universitas Sriwijaya 2021. I cannot set acknowledgement first because this article is still under review. Okay, thank you very much. I would like to say something wise maybe. Life is a journey, not the destination, but the scenery along the should be and mood at the view. Thank you very much. Wassalam. Wabillahi taufiq wa hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya kembalikan kepada back to the Miss Moderator Rasida Pratiwi. Thank you, Miss Rasida.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ibu Isni Andriana, for the informative presentations. Well, from the presentations from Ibu Isni, we just know that some new proof, new statement from the about the organizational performance. Maybe we should upgrade our skill or upgrade our skill or do some strain to make our organizational culture and performance better. Well, now we come to the next sessions, that is questions sessions. So for those who wants to ask, please unmute your microphone and raise your hand. Okay, I just got one participants to ask. That's come from Ibu Sri Andayani. Okay, dear Ibu Isni, thank you for a very nice presentations. As a lecturer, the topics is interesting for us. How the organizational cultures characteristic influence the performance in Indonesia higher education institutions. So the research show that there are 4 dimensions in organizational cultures, namely involvement, consistency, adaptability, and missions. Ibu Isni, is there any other model to explore the organizational cultures? That's the first questions. Okay, we're gonna have 2 more participants to ask. Okay, this is come from Ibu Parama Santati. Okay, Bu Parama Santati, you may unmute your microphone.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Rashida. Ibu Isni is so very interesting research. I would ask to you, because of university's learning organization, so knowledge management and learning organization, of course, are very important. In your opinion, how to improve organization learning to increase university performance? Because I see in your presentation, you find that organization learning in the universities, the organization still do not have ability to receive, to translate, and interpret signal from the environment into opportunities, innovation, and knowledge. So how to improve organization learning to increase university performance? Thank you very much, Ms. Rashida and Ibu Isni.
Okay, thank you so much, Ibu Parama Santati, for the questions. And then we find another participants to us. Okay, we have Bapak Dr. Abdul Basir.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Rashida. I'm interested in your study, Mrs. Isni, and I see your study use a qualitative approach, right? And so my question, why you choose qualitative method for this study? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Bapak Dr. Abdul Basir. So we have 3 participants to us. The first ones come from Ibu Parama Santati, and then second one come from Ibu Sri Andayani, and the last one from Bapak Abdul Basir. Okay, Ibu Isni, are you ready to answer?
Okay, thank you, Miss Moderator Rasida. Could I answer for Dr. Basir first? Because this is
Yeah.
my patient actually.
Yes, please.
They asking why I choose this article using a qualitative method. Actually, by using the qualitative method, I would like to touch what is inside the actor's behavior by using the Denison culture attribute of the Denis from the nation. So that's why I would like to dig in depth so I can answer what Ibu Paramasantati want to know, how to improve organizational performance. That's why we are using the qualitative method by in-depth interview. Actually, our research is using two type of the methodology. First is a quantitative with a survey, with a questionnaire, but the second one is a qualitative method with the interview. But for this article, because it want to publish in the journal, so we choose for the qualitative method because actually this is my passion for the qualitative method. That's the answer why we choose qualitative method for this article. And then Ibu Sri Andayani, thank you very much for the question. My colleague actually, Ibu Sri Andayani. Is there any model that can be used for this research? Can I conclude like that, Miss Resida?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Actually, yes. When the first time I introduced about the why we want to use why we want to do the research or article writing in for the organizational culture, there is I said Clark 19 even this is my our research. I'm still forget 1980. They talking when Clark talking about there is a high concept about connecting with school and universities need a religious feeling in their adherent. And then Clark in 1980 said that there are poor culture dominant influence academic life. That's the first, the other model that can be used to research for the organizational culture. However, because I'm still when we read about the literature review, other journal, we are interested using the Denison because Denison have something that we need to answer about the organizational performance. That's why there is a lot of some model a lot to use. One of the beside Denison, one of is Clark model. And then thank you very much for my colleague also, Ibu Paramasantati. She said that I use like adaptive. Sorry. So if I'm not forget, I use attribute, culture attribute, involvement, consistency, and then adaptability and mission. Sorry, excuse me. To how to improve the organizational performance using that teams, yeah, using that teams. By using that teams, we can find that most of the participant that we interviewed said that some the key point, for example, like for the culture attribute of the adaptability, they said for the customer focus, they said the organization still have a limited ability to react on the customer needs. That's interesting for me because Our customer is clear. Our customer is a student. How can they cannot react actively to improve their student, their customer? Some of them are paying for study in our university, for example. So the mindset when we interview the participant, they said the organization have changed their mindset about who they are served, not who who pay their salary. Can I say like that? Sorry about that. Who are they served? They need quality. If our graduation have a quality, it means that our organizational performance, in this case is a university, will be improved. For example, when we see our rector said we are in categorized in world-class university according to time higher education, something like that. So I think by using that variable, a lot of suggestion, can I say like that, a lot of suggestion said to from the participant to us that this part can be improved, this part can be improved, something like that. Bu Parama Santati, I think that's is that clear enough? Thank you very much for the question, Parama Santati.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ibu Isni Andriana, for the explanations. How about Ibu Parama Santati? Is there any response about the explanations?
Thank you very much, Ibu Isni.
That's it. Okay, how about Bapak Abdul Basir and the last one, Ibu Sri Andayani? Any response? If it is clear enough.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Okay, if it is clear enough, we move to another presentations. Thank you so much, Ibu Isti and Riana. But before that, I would like to conclude what Ibu Isti and Riana presents before. That is, there are some factors that determines the influence of organizational culture characteristic on performance in Indonesia higher education institution, especially in Universitas Sriwijaya, right? And then the second one, there are organizations culture survey by Denison that is used in this paper, that there are involvements, consistency, adaptability, and the last one is missions. Okay, let me move to the next presentations. I would like to invite Ibu Dr. Luk Fuada. Okay, this is the bio. She is the lectures of accounting departments. She was a graduate from her master degree in the Flinders University International Business 2003, and then he received her doctors in Universitas Diponegoro Akuntansi 2010. Okay. Next, she has some publications article in Scopus and also other journals. Now, let me invite the last speaker, Ibu Luk Fuada. Are you with us, Ibu Luluk?
Okay.
Okay. How are you, Ibu Luluk?
I'm fine.
Okay, thank you. Okay, you have 20 minutes to present and then 10 minutes to have question sessions. The time is yours, Ibu.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for all participants to join this event, and also thank you for the moderator, Rafsida. Okay. This is our title. Is related to the relationship between sustainable reporting, e-commerce, firm performance, and tax avoidance with organizational culture as a moderating variable in small medium enterprise in Palembang. Actually, this paper is already published in Sustainability on March 2020, yeah, based on our research that funding from the University Sriwijaya, from the penelitian kompetitif. Okay. Next. Okay, next, in our presentation, we divided into several style actually, yeah, related to the introduction, literature review, methods, result and discussion, and the last is conclusion. Okay. Based on the introduction, actually, sustainable reporting in small medium enterprise is discussed, yeah, from the other countries such as Czech Republic, Italy, Netherlands, India, Spain, that we explain in our paper. And then in our paper, sustainable reporting is effect to the e-commerce, then the tax avoidance is effect to the e-commerce, and then e-commerce is influence to firm performance and organizational culture as the moderating. Yeah. Based on the previous studies, they have several mixed results. Yeah, actually, there are so many references. Yeah, we refer, for example, Rudianto 2017, and then Lin 2017. Yeah, Bird 2018, and then Inger 2019, Abdul Fattah 2020, and then Abid 2021, and then Afrizal 2021, Budiman 2021, and then Wahabi 2021. The same is Gadaga Farosan is 2022. That they have several mixed results. Yeah, our contribution actually there are two our contribution. The first one, we use a questionnaire to collect our primary data, and then this study also support two theories that we use, agency theory and also a stakeholder theory. We know that based on the previous research, most of them research to the sustainable reporting and also tax avoidance, usually they use a secondary data rather than the primary data. Okay, next. The literature review. In here, we discuss about the theory. There are two theories that we use. The first one is agency theory. It is used related to the e-commerce and then tax avoidance and also organizational culture. But on the sustainable reporting, actually, we use stakeholders. Yeah, this is the dominant and also useful theory that explaining the sustainable reporting. And also our hypothesis in here, we have 4 hypotheses. The first one is sustainable reporting has a positive effect on the tax avoidance. The second one, e-commerce have a positive effect on the tax avoidance. And also the third one, the hypothesis is tax avoidance has a positive effect on the company performance. And then the last is the organizational culture moderate the impact of a tax avoidance and also firm performance. So when we illustrated the research model, there are 2 independent variables, and then there is intervening variable, tax avoidance, and also moderating variable, organizational culture, and then dependent variable is a firm performance in here. Okay, next. The method actually, yeah, you missed the slide before. The slide before in here. Oh my God. The slide before, not result, but it's about the method. Okay. When we discuss about the method, our population is the small medium enterprise in Palembang. So in here, based on the type of business, yeah, our sample is from the wholesale and retail trade, car and motorcycle repair and maintenance. It's about 80, yeah, and then provision of accommodation and provision of food and drink is 81, and then processing industry is 75, agriculture, forestry and fisheries is 75, and then the last is transportation and warehousing is 75. The total sample actually 386, yeah. And then the measurement variable, there are 5 variables in our research. The first one is sustainable reporting. It is referred to the report made by a company that discloses or communicated to all stakeholders related to the environmental performance and the governance in a accountable manner. And then next is tax avoidance, refers to the effort made by a company to minimize the amount of tax that must be paid while staying in accordance with applicable laws and regulation related to the tax. And then next, e-commerce, it is referred to the buying and also selling of goods through electronic media. And then from the firm performance, it is the condition that is best assessed by a company at every given period. We use in here the questionnaire related to the earn sale, earn profit, yeah, and then return on capital. And then organizational cultures, it is referred to the set of value, principle, tradition, and ways of working that are shared by member of organization and that influence the way they act. Okay. And then the method analysis, we use a partial least square, yeah, with the research model is here, yeah, TA and also performance. Okay, next, the result and discussion, yeah. From the result and discussion in here, the first one we discuss about the profile of our respondent, yeah. We have 2011 respondent, yeah, from the gender and also age, education, and also type of business. Okay, and then based on the descriptive statistic, actually we mentioned relate to the mean, max, yeah, mean, standard deviation, and also factor loading. And also we look at the construct reliability and the validity, yeah, related to the outer model as well, yeah, from the partial least square as well, yeah. Based on the second table in there, there is the result, yeah, of the hypothesis. The first hypothesis, so that it is supported, yeah, and then the second one is also supported, and then the third one also supported, but the last one is rejected. So it's so that the first hypothesis indicate that sustainable reporting has a positive effect, yeah, on the tax avoidance. And then the second hypothesis shows that e-commerce has a positive and significant effect on tax avoidance. And then the third hypothesis revealed that tax avoidance has a positive effect on firm performance. But the last hypothesis, the organizational culture, actually act as the moderating variable in the effect of the tax avoidance and firm performance. But the results show that not significant, yeah, between this variable. So organizational culture do not act as the moderating variable. Okay. The last is about conclusion. The last slide. Please, the last slide next. Okay. The conclusion, we found a significant association between sustainable reporting and also tax avoidance. Yeah, this means that the greater the disclosure sustainable reporting in small medium enterprise, the higher the tax avoidance. We also found that e-commerce has a positive and significant effect on tax avoidance. This also means the higher level of e-commerce in the small medium enterprise in Palembang is also so the higher related to the tax avoidance. Yeah. This is in line with the third hypothesis that tax avoidance has a positive and significant effect on firm performance. Yeah, and then the higher tax avoidance, the higher the company's performance also. So, but for the organizational culture does not moderate the effect of the tax avoidance on the firm performance. Okay, next. There are several practical implications in here. The first one is small medium enterprise owners can take advantage the extensive use of the e-commerce, especially they want to sell their product or services and to reduce the tax payment or tax avoidance. Although sustainable reporting is not mandatory for the small medium enterprise, but it is a benefit for the sustainability of their business. And then it can be useful for the government to pay special attention related to the small medium enterprise. Especially they can develop regulation to be useful for the small medium enterprise in running their business. Especially for the Ministry of Cooperative and Micro Small Medium Enterprise and also Ministry of Finance in Indonesia related to the tax. Okay, so actually the limitation of this study, this research focus only small medium enterprise, and also the study used a questionnaire based on the previous study, and then the last study also a quantitative method differ with ISNI before. Okay, is related qualitative research. Okay, that's all our presentation. Based on our paper in here. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ibu Lulu Pada, for the presentations. It's talking about the sustainability reporting, e-commerce, firm performance, and also tax avoidance. Well, now we're gonna have 3 participants to ask. Please, for those who want to ask, raise your hands or just write down your question in the chat box. Okay, now we have 2 participants to us. Please, for Bapak Aryo Mahir Naja, you can unmute your microphone.
Okay. Thank you for the chance and then for the opportunity that you give to me. Best regard for Ibu Lulu Fuada. What a nice presentation, and then I got a lot of information that you already gave to us. At the first, allow me to ask you about the simple. I mean, I think this is the simple question. I still didn't get about the study. I mean, at the first you all talk about you all use primary data. Are there any difficulty that you for getting this data for your research? I think, and then the second is you tell us about the variable independent. If I'm not mistaken, you choose a commerce for your variable independent. Is it important variable that can make your research more qualified than before? I think that's all for my question. Thank you for the opportunity and the chance. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Oke, Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Bapak Aryo Mahir Naja. Next, we're gonna go to Bapak Damar. Bapak Damar? Okay.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Sorry, ma'am. Can you hear me, ma'am? My
Yes.
voice. Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm very interested about this research. So I have a question about the research, ma'am. Maybe I can learn more about this. So my question is, the study investigation test avoidance in small and medium entrepreneurs. What is the role of the government in relation to tax avoidance? Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, we're gonna have one more questions. Is there anyone to ask? If we don't have another, okay. If we have no other questions, so
There is a question
please,
in the chat actually.
Sorry. Oh yeah. Okay, I would like to read the questions from Ibu Patmawati. The questions is, if organizational culture doesn't moderate the relationship between the tax avoidance and firm performance, can it be concluded that organizational culture is not important to be studied in measuring company performance? That's come from Ibu Fatma. So we now have three questions. How about Ibu Lukwada? Are you ready to answer now?
Okay. Okay. The first question, from Aryo Mahir Naja. The question is related to the why we use primary data, and then is it difficulties? There is difficulty in getting data. Actually, when we discuss the primary data, of course, the primary data, it is the factual, original, and also a real time, because we conduct our study by survey, by distributing our questionnaire to the owner for the small medium enterprise in Palembang. And thanks God, at that time we assisted by an account officer, from the Directorate General of Taxes. They help us to distribute our questionnaire with a Google Form. So when we discuss difficulties, if it is directly, of course, it is difficult. Too many small medium enterprise targeted in Palembang, especially. But thanks God, because one of variable is related to the tax, we asked the account officer at that time, to help us, to distribute our questionnaire. Okay, and then the second question from the Mr. Aryu, why we choose include the e-commerce, in our study. We know e-commerce nowadays is also is already what we call it transaction that occur online, then usually happen every day. Could be, especially when we want to buy something, product, and also could be services. Of course, the small medium enterprise also applies. They sell their product or services by using online, on also directly as well. So because of that, we interest to investigate, whether e-commerce could be effect on the tax avoidance, especially when we use for the small medium enterprise in Palembang. Okay, so why we choose e-commerce as our investigation, yeah, for our paper. Okay, and then next from the Mr. Damar, yeah, said the role of the government. Yeah, when we discuss about the government, of course, it is related to the tax. Actually, tax in here, there are two type tax, yeah, tax avoidance and also tax avoidance. Yeah, but if it is tax avoidance, actually it is the effort that made by the taxpayers, yeah, including in here small medium enterprise, yeah, to minimize their tax, but they still use legally. They use the tax law. Okay, but tax avoidance, it is to reduce amount of the tax, but actually they don't follow or guide from the tax rule, yeah, or law. So it is illegal, but tax avoidance is still legal. Okay, the government, I think, needs to increase, yeah, to socialize, yeah, to the taxpayer, including the owners of small medium enterprise, yeah, to use the tax rule, especially for nowadays we have the new tax rule as well, yeah. It's in 2001, if I'm not mistaken, yeah. It is related to the new rule related to the tax, yeah. And also we know in Indonesia we use self-assessment system, yeah, meaning it's all is taxpayer responsibility, yeah, to calculate, yeah, and also to know their tax, yeah. So it's mean that taxpayer must know about the rule, yeah, related to the tax. Okay, okay. The last question, yeah, from Mrs. Fatma. When we discuss about organizational cultures, actually it is referred to the set of the values and also a principle, yeah, tradition and ways of working that are shared by the member of an organization that influence the way they act. But small medium enterprise usually have a similar norm or values, and that they use working together, equality, and also they could be have some kind of punishment and also reward as well. Okay, based on our study, yeah, of course organizational culture does not act as the moderating variable, yeah. But I think it is still possible, yeah, to be investigated because it is potential related to the policy, yeah, within the company, especially for the small medium enterprise. We know most of them is prioritized for the family business usually, yeah, for the small medium enterprise. So could be because of that, I think, yeah, could be why it's not a moderate, yeah, the effect of the firm tax avoidance to the firm performance. Yeah, but I think it's still need to investigate. Okay, it could be for the what we call it other type of method, could be, yeah, qualitative method usually is more in depth, yeah, because they directly interviewing to the respondent. Okay, I think that's all.
Thank you so much, Ibu Lulu Fuada. Is there any response for the participants who asked? Bapak Aryo, Bapak Damar, dan Ibu Fatma? Is it clear enough?
Okay, clear enough. Very satisfied answering.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, you are welcome. And then the times is almost over. So this is the conclusions for the presentations from Ibu Luluk. It's about the relationship between sustainability reporting, e-commerce, fund performance, and tax avoidance with organizational culture as moderating variable in small and medium enterprises in Palembang. So we can conclude that the first one in Indonesia, companies listed on Indonesian Stock Exchange are not obligated to disclose their sustainability reporting is similar, especially for small micro enterprises. And the second one, e-commerce refers to a transactions or purchase that occur online, and tax avoidance occur when a company minimizes the amounts of tax that must be paid without violating tax laws. And then the result of the research are there is a significant associations between sustainability reporting and tax avoidance. The greater the disclosure of sustainability reporting in SMEs, the higher the tax avoidance. And the second one, e-commerce has a positive and significant effects on tax avoidance. The higher level of e-commerce in SMEs in Palembang, the higher the tax avoidance. And the last one, the tax avoidance has a positive and significant effect on firms' performance. The higher the tax avoidance, so the higher company performance. That's all the conclusions about Ibu Luluk Fuada presentations. Thank you so much, Ibu Luluk Fuada, for the time.
Thank you.
And now this is the last presentations, and we're gonna come to the end of this agenda. First, I would like to say thanks thank you so much for the representative from Australian National University ANU as a media for us to have this is amazing forum Kajian Pembangunan that expands our knowledge, give much insight to us about the industrial trade and organizational cultures. And then second one, I also really appreciate to all the three beautiful speakers here who already give their research results about their research. And also I would like to appreciate all the participants who have give their time to join this agenda. Thank you so much. And now I am Rasida Pertiwi signing out, and see you again for the amazing seminar. Thank you so much. And then back to Ibu Vini.
Okay, thank you so much for all the presenter and also the moderator, Mrs. Rashida Pativi. Before we close our event today, I would like to remind you, please find the link on the chat box. You can give the link to register for the absent and also for given for certificates. And also you can download the materials on the link on the chat box. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the end of our agenda today. Thank you so much for all the participants, especially for all the presenters. It's very honored to have all of you today. On behalf of the committee today, I would like to apologize for any inconvenience during this today event. Hopefully, this event will give us many advantages and expand our knowledge. I'm Vini Dwinel signing out, and see you in the others events. Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye-bye.
Waalaikumsalam.